yesterday, of course, Thulean Perspective was banned from YouTube. Well, that's yesterday, so I'm recording this. I was busy yesterday and I couldn't make a video when it happened. Of course, it was a shock, but not too much of a shock because ultimately we always knew this was happening. It was just a matter of time. In fact, it was amazing he lasted so long. You know, with all the strikes, constantly he'd disappear for weeks and then he'd come back and surprise us. But this time he's gone. And of course, you know, he'll make other videos, he'll create a new channel perhaps, or just keep posting on BitChute. But I needed to make a video about it because it's important. It says a lot about the control which you know, these giant corporations have, and they're all linked. You know, Google are behind YouTube, and Zuckerberg is behind you know, Facebook, WhatsApp, as well as other subsidiaries and whatnot. And there really are very few platforms which are popular, which you can use, which haven't been co-opted by kikes, you know. And I can say that because, you know, they're not going to find out about my channel, certainly for some time. Well, I don't know how advanced their algorithms are, but yeah. Well, my point is, which I'll get to in a bit, is that doesn't matter. But the first point I would like to make is about how the way we distribute knowledge is going to change now and in the future. How it is changing right now. Because using these platforms, of course, are not going to be sufficient for some time, because everything's going to be documented and it's going to be cut off pretty easily. It's going to be manipulated pretty easily. When everyone's drinking from the same water source, right? Once that water source gets polluted, everyone's fucked. You know, it's not just some people. You know, it's everyone. And so everyone who drinks from that water source, right, is going to be drinking the pollution. It's going to disseminate into everyone's palate, right? So, the distribution of knowledge amongst our community is going to have to change at some point, away from the same platforms which promote, you know, the manipulation of that knowledge towards some sort of vulgarity. You know, every little movement which contributed to our movement now. If you look at black metal in the 90s, exact same thing, right? Once the record companies come, it's already over, you know, and it's already something completely different. Now everyone who knows about black metal knows about degeneracy and Satanism, and they don't know about the purity and the beauty which it once was. So we're gonna have to turn towards, in particular, physical literature. Now, what I mean by that is, of course, there's books. But for now, it can also mean file sharing. There are plenty of platforms out there, because of their nature, right? It's illegal, right, to download copyrighted material. Technically, at least in most countries. Of course, very few people get caught, but because of the nature of that illegality, file sharing platforms tend to go out of their way to hide data and to mask activity in ways which social media platforms certainly don't. And so it's better to go on a site like you know, Pirate Bay or something, and you'll find downloads there. Also, sites like Mega will work too for file sharing. Try to stay away from you know, other sites, but and of course for music you have SoulSeek, and you know that they all work in a similar way, file sharing. But literature too is going to have to be very important. It already is, because eventually it's going to be banned to such a large degree, which will make it difficult to get your hands on anything. Of course, to buy anything online, you have to use your credit card. I'm certainly against using your credit card for pretty much anything. If you have to use it, try have a throwaway card. If you move country a lot, maybe if you're from Europe, you probably have more than one card, and you can use the throwaway card in some places. But yeah, it's better not to use your card at all. But what I would say is that if you have to use your card, use it now, because in the future things are just going to be even more documented, even more censored, and just get your hands on whatever literature you can right now. And if you need to write right now, don't do it later, because later there won't be time. It's often someone has stayed up late thinking about something, or spent weeks on end planning something, and in the end it never comes to fruition. And sometimes if you act on impulse and just and do it right away, it'll be much better for you. You'll avoid the inevitability, which is entropy in the microcosmic way. That is even those tiny little things will end pretty quickly if you let them. Our lives are so short. The second point I wanted to make was about how we should see censorship, because obviously with VARG being taken down, it pretty much means that anyone could be taken down right now. They'll find some sort of excuse. Ultimately, VARG was banned in the end for nothing. After all everything which could be called racist and offensive and everything, none of that was what got him banned. What got him banned was the most inconsequential of videos. Ultimately, anyone could be banned at this point. Anyone who disagrees with the system, who has any sort of power. But my point is, we can continue to use their platforms to a relative degree, and just continue to use other platforms, because the whole point of this is not to go under the radar, right? It's the opposite. It's the opposite. It's to reach out to as many people as possible and convert them. Now, of course, not everyone can be converted, and there's no point reaching out to normies and at the flock, right? You're not going to find those people, but there are plenty of black sheeps in that flock, and it's pretty easy to pick them out if you know where to look, and it's pretty easy to talk to them and get them on your side. And you can do this in real life too. The ultimate goal would be for them to say shut up, and for us to say, so what? You can block my speech here, but I have plenty of other places I can talk. I have plenty of other people I can talk to. I don't need to associate with you. I think that's ultimate power, right? It's sovereignty. It's the ability to not depend on others. And ultimately, as a community, to achieve sovereignty, you need to have your own platforms. You need to have your own basis for creating culture, right? Because because culture is something it's obviously ever changing, but it's not a passive thing, right? It's an active thing. Culture is the result of each individual in the community's active engagement in the community. And so, to manipulate culture, you basically just have to stop creativity. You have to stop powerful instincts, or the will to power, and you have to instead insert bullshit, basically, a bunch of irrelevant references, a bunch of mockeries of everything good and decent, and get people to flock towards those things, and eventually culture will destroy itself. Multiculturalism is the opposite of culture in this regard, but I don't mean that in the wider sense. Even just in the distribution of information, it's ever present. We as a culture need to strive to conquer, not strive to survive. There is no will to survival after all. The desire to survive is just an inevitable result of the will to power. And if we as a culture do not want sovereignty in terms of discussion, in terms of influence, then we're just going to wane away either way. We're always going to be in the background. And they can use this, these powers that be. They can use our desire for some sort of participation and just manipulate us so we become part of the system. We become like everyone else. Ultimately, YouTube channels with 100,000 subscribers aren't going to be the future. That's the thing of the past. It's time for smaller communities, right? Actually, that's a point I want to make another video on. And it ties in with an anthropological idea, and maybe that'll be my next video. But right now, I just wanted to make that quick point. This is not the end of the world. Varg will continue to make videos, and buy his books while you can, and contribute to the discussion. We've learned so much, and there's so much more to learn. Let's not give up now.